Maybe. Working? There? Let's see. So, oh, I don't know. Is it working? I can't tell. Nothing over here is helping me out. See, I got somebody watching, so if you could just let me know down below if you guys can see me, if it's clear, if you guys can hear me, all that. For whatever reason, it's not showing me whether it is or it is not going live. So, freaking no. Of course, nothing wants to work with me. That sucks. But you guys can comment down below that you guys can hear me. It'd be awesome. Go from there after the fact. Nothing. Still, you guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right. Okay. Okay. I was just making sure because listen, it's a battle trying to get on live anymore. Uh, YouTube says that you need 1,000 subs before you can get on live. You guys can see I've surpassed that, and it's giving me trouble. And for whatever reason, it's not even notifying me on my other accounts. Boom. There we go. Finally, just got that. So let me turn that down. So I run the tablet so I can kind of see your guys' chats because sometimes this lags and it doesn't show up the chats. So that's why I need to do that. So, anyways, how's everybody's day? Got kind of bored and was like, let's do a live chat. I was gonna do one yesterday. For whatever reason, I just didn't. There's that. I want to try to get at least 6 to 8 people in here before we really start talking. But obviously, you guys can start. You guys can start having conversation, interactions, whatnot. That'd be great too, and we can kill some time that way. Because why not? Ugh, it's been a long day. What's up, Jamie? How you doing? Ugh, damn, too tired for this shit. In my lives, especially right now, uh, I may slip up and use some inappropriate language that's not intended necessarily. Sometimes it's harder to catch myself when doing lives compared to shooting content to post later on. But I can also go back, look at it, fix it there. Here, I really can't do that. So, guys, please bear with me. I mean, we're all human, right? Nobody wants to have conversation. Nobody wants to tell me how their day has been so far. Nobody wants to tell me what they did, what they're doing. None of that. We really need to get these live streams to boost them, especially if we're going to be doing them once a week. I think we can do better. I think. I mean, you're at work, I'm at work. I understand that. different kind of work scenarios, situations. I'm happy doing what I do. This, not so much, only because, nobody likes to actually have conversation. I'm over here talking to myself. Even when I am reading the conversations or the comments, the neighbors think that I'm crazy talking to myself. It's okay. But generally, the rest of the at work aspect for me is pretty good. Pretty good. Not too many people are happy with what they do. I guess that's all that matters, right? It doesn't seem like it's the clearest, but it seems like it's clearer now than it was last Sunday. You know, I understand where the baby's coming from though, because I don't like to take naps either. Once in a blue moon, I'll take a nap, but it's very, very. Where the baby's coming. Definitely can understand where the baby's coming. Jason, I have I have 5 dogs, and Harley. All of my dogs are Americans. Harley, I posted her um, on TikTok, stuff like that, and I got another channel with my dogs. But Harley is the biggest out of all of voices. But anyway, so Harley is the biggest out of all of them, and she's real scary to people who don't know because when she plays, she talks, and she talks loud, and she sounds aggressive. So it's funny whenever we have her like out in the back or whatever. We're an HOA, so we can't just let the dogs run loose in the backyard. So we actually have to hook them up. But so when we have her hooked up and we start playing around or whatever, and she starts going at it, yeah, the neighbors think that she's about to mess me up. It's pretty funny. So with yours being a pit and mine being American Bullies, a lot of people obviously get them confused for one another. Uh, Generally speaking, but sorry, I had a text. Generally speaking, American Bullies are thicker, uh, more medium built than pits, but some people they're still think they're the same. Tank, he's probably my thickest between him and Rocky, but I think Tank is the thickest, uh, and I'd say he's probably pushing close to 80 pounds. Harley probably just a little bit more, just because she is a little taller too. Hello from Florida, people from Dubai. That's what's up. So we're just gonna chill, silence. Not sure if um, I don't know where everyone is from. Right now we got people, uh, 8 people in or whatever, and that's awesome. I don't even have. I don't even know. Anyways, so a lot of people don't realize Florida has a lot of new laws that just came into effect with FWC and keeping these animals. Big python, which big python? The blood python, the one that tried to strike at me in one of my TikToks, or because I also got a just kidding. Okay. Uh, yeah, so the blood python, he's doing great. He actually just shed since that TikTok. I'm gonna do another TikTok with him. I just have to work it up to that point because I ain't trying to get bit again by the blood pythons. They kind of hurt. They feel like a Mack truck, but soon, soon we'll be doing another one. Anyways, so yeah, Florida's new animal laws or new FWC laws or whatnot make it almost impossible for us to. Yeah, TikTok is they're talking about banning TikTok, obviously here as well. Uh, that's a topic for my other channel, but hopefully everything gets figured out with TikTok and we have that. But again, FWC's laws. So as I posted Valentino that we might end up having to get rid of him. Uh, Hopefully we don't, but up until uh, everything gets figured out and then um, filed against FWC or whatnot, there was actually a yeah, I'll never be one of those talented guys. I'll tell you that. I just post the post. But yeah, so with the lawsuits, there was just one a hearing yesterday. Thankfully, they're going to basically speed through the lawsuit and try to get to resolution in a timely manner. Hopefully, it works. Hopefully, we don't end up having to do anything. I don't know how to word it. Well, just hopefully we don't have to get rid of these animals that we've had and that are our family. For instance, Valentino, I've had him for about 2 years now. I've gone through hell and back for that animal to the point where I actually had to open his mouth just to feed him. And whenever he was stuck in predation and whatnot, most people obviously they're not messing with a tegu and an open mouth, but it's kind of something that you just have to do when it comes to caring for these animals. Sometimes you have to go outside of your comfort zone and make sure that they're going to survive. Or you know, guys, that's just sweet tea. Don't think it's anything else. See, I can't see nothing on that. Yeah, like I said, hopefully I don't have to get rid of them. Hopefully the lawsuit with US ARC, USARK.org, they're the ones who are fighting for our rights, and not just the rights of us, um, but realistically the rights of everyone here. Because not only is it tegus and iguanas that just got added to this list, and then the whole list of conditional species has been banned. So at one point, you was actually able to own just before the just before July, you was able to own reticulated pythons. You had to have your conditional species permit to own the reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, pretty sure green and yellow anacondas as well. However, since the new laws in July, you're no longer allowed to own those animals, the conditional species animals. Now, even with the conditional species animals, you could not own them just as pets. So I couldn't own an albino reticulated python or, uh, sorry, just whatever. I couldn't own a reticulated python, and that's that. Uh, I had to do educational exhibits or shows, kind of like what I do here, showing off animals, educating people on these animals, and taking it in that direction. I would have to do the same thing with the reticulated python, Burmese python, um, a whole bunch of different species. Regardless, with this new ban, we can't do that. Some of us may be grandfathered in. There's no guarantee. May be grandfathered in into keeping our animals uh, that we previously had before the ban. But hopefully, the lawsuit works in our favor, and it takes not so much a different turn. Obviously, everybody needs to have an understanding and to actually have the responsibility that it takes to have these animals. But realistically, to blame or punish the masses for the few is just, it's not how this works. That's not how the majority of anything works. It's just not fair to all of us good keepers. Hey, that's it. No conversations. Yeah, so I like the color of it. I don't know why, but this bright ass orange, excuse my English. I don't know. Got to think for it. Then I just threw a decal on it. Just why not? Right? I really didn't want to do this throughout the video, but I'm gonna smoke my cigarette throughout the video. If it offends you, sorry. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I am sorry. Got a lot of stuff going on, and stress. Stress is not my strong suit. So, hi, I see you. I'm talking to you. I've replied to you. Did you not see that, or did you not hear that? I should say. He was talking about how much I care about Valentino. Had that conversation. Oh, been a long day. Gotta clean these rat racks, hose out the bins, change the bedding, all that good stuff. Then I gotta go through and spot clean snakes and water snakes and take care of all that. Yeah. So I didn't post. I didn't post him yet for her, just because I want to give it a little bit of time before I do such. Uh, but I do have a new animal. a surrendered animal. Not necessarily, not necessarily a rescue, but we had picked up an animal that wasn't, wasn't eating for this individual, uh, and actually, it wasn't eating for someone picked it up at Repticon. It wasn't eating for them, and it was super stressed out, super aggressive. Realistically, just defensive, not necessarily aggressive. But um, so the individual that I got it from had it for a few days, a week, whatever the case may be, but realized that it was super stressed. It didn't want to eat. So we took it in, and obviously with this animal is known to be defensive and known to really hurt. So the best bet was to do this, so to speak. And the only thing that, the only reason why it really wasn't eating, it's not like it's underweight or anything like that. The only reason why it wasn't really eating is because it wasn't offered something that it was probably used to. So I offered it live rodents, and it took, and it should be good. But before I go and mention it, I just want to make sure that it is. So Tristan, sorry if I'm butchering that, but uh, I've actually been into it for a while. Hey, what's up? So I've been into it for a while now. When I initially started, I got my first pair of normals that were het albino for $10 a piece, little babies, $10 a piece, and uh, I I wasn't familiar with just how big the ball python game really was. So I was happy with my snakes and was showing them off to everybody. And one person in particular that I showed them off to had a buddy, a friend, an acquaintance, whatever you want to call them, uh, who actually bred ball pythons. And I took that and got in connection with this individual, and we actually had a good thing working for a while there. So I ended up basically taking care of all his animals, watering them, feeding them, all that good stuff. Um, made some decent money, made some decent money doing that, and then we ended up going into business, and it was three of us. Uh, we went into business. I had a lot of animals. One animal in particular was my BPI Snow, female, ready to breed. And this dude, he ended up he ended up using, and he ended up broke real quick. So he took all the animals. So being that we was in business, we had all of our animals together in a unit, a cook shed, realistically, like a tiny house, one of those little tiny houses or whatever. So, anyways, he ended up taking all of these animals, all of my animals and his animals, selling them for drug money, and I couldn't do nothing because we was in business together. So it's not like, um, I mean, obviously we made the report and whatnot. He made a report as well. So we had two different stories when we made the police report, and the police report didn't go nowhere. So that was really unfortunate. But that's that was the first bump in the road for me. After that, I kind of just was like, I don't really want to get back into it because that left a bad taste in my mouth. When I broke my back, it was kind of my silver lining to get back into it and kind of go balls to the wall, no pun intended. But obviously, I'm still super, super small time. But when I got my settlement, I jumped into it, and that's where I'm at now. It's harder. It's not hard at all. Let me get that clear. It's not hard at all, but it is harder on the actual business aspect than it is the uh, whatever you want to call it, like everything else. So, like the grading aspect and whatnot. So, when you want to do a legal business and you get your business license and you register your fictitious name and all that stuff, that's more difficult than understanding and grading these animals. The biggest thing is you need to understand recessive, codominant, dominant genes, and understand the genes that you can or you cannot pair. It's fairly easy. Obviously, that you also need to know your your weights, your sizes, your sexes, stuff like that. Once you got that stuff down, bro, it's cake. It really is. Not everything will breed just when you pair it up. That's why if you see snakes listed, some will be listed as proven. And when they're proven, I do that because they could be in quotes or they could be capitalized. When it says proven, it means that it's proved out, that it's bred. Not necessarily meaning that the genes that's listed are proven. Um, because sometimes you won't pass the genes, even if they are codominant or dominant genes. Sometimes you pass them on to your animals. It's just kind of a luck in the draw. Uh, but sorry, but yeah, it's not hard, bro. It's really not. If you ever have any questions that I haven't answered previously, you could always message me on Facebook. I'm always happy to help, no matter what it may pertain to. Doesn't necessarily have to be like or state bearded dragons or any of that. You know, just something. Oh yeah, I ramble on a lot, guys. If you haven't noticed, I'm sorry, but that's just how I do. You guys can say something, talk, hold the conversation. Great. You can sit here in silence. That's fine. Cool with it. So the species that's my favorite. Are we talking about that I keep or just in general? If we're talking about what I keep, it's kind of uh, a hard decision to make because uh, when it comes to me and what I keep, there's some ball pythons that that not necessarily for the species, but for their coat or their color or paint job or morph. Uh, those are they're some of my favorite animals. For instance, like anything pied. All my pieds, forget about it. Um, Species, my Asian water monitor is probably real close to being the top of the list of my favorite species and my favorite animal at that. Um, but then we got Valentino and Scar, who are also very, very close up there on my favorite list. Um, Obviously, I love all these animals. There's no question about it. But the monitors and the tegu, there's just something about a lizard that is just so freaking smart. Now, Scar, she'll mess up anybody. My Argus monitor, she'll mess up anybody except for me. She has bit me one time when I first got her, but since then she hasn't. Uh, and the water monitor is an asshole. Excuse my English, but that's a fact. He bit me and he held on for 20-ish minutes. Yeah, that was not fun. And monitors are actually venomous. Now it's a mild venom. A lot of people used to think that it was the bacteria in their saliva. Excuse me. But it's actual venom. And that little guy definitely tried to inject as much venom as he could. Didn't necessarily work though. And then my favorite species that I do not keep. It's kind of hard because it's not necessarily my favorite species that there is. Sorry, but definitely reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, uh, even like the Nile monitors and stuff like that. Those are among my favorites. Unfortunately, I'm not able to own those three species that I just mentioned because of forest laws. Hopefully, the sound's not breaking up too bad anymore. I don't know what the issue was. Could be a connection error or a connection issue on my end, and I do apologize if that's the case. Also, maybe a connection issue on your end. It doesn't matter how old you are. It really doesn't, bro. Uh, When I actually started my stuff by myself, I was 22, 23 years old. Uh, I had a little bit of, I don't know how to word it. I had a little bit of a background, but I had more of a word of mouth reputation throughout, uh, not obviously the whole hobbyist or whole community, whatever you want to call it, but I did have some pretty good names that associated with myself. So it kind of helped me get a better understanding of certain things. Obviously, none of us learn stuff overnight. A lot of people don't like to actually go over and educate especially the beginners or the newbies. Um, that's never been my thing. I'm always pouring out information to everybody. I know that there's some people that even charge for information and stuff like that, and that's just kind of crazy to me. But yeah, man, definitely send me a text. Um, if you message me there, I can give you my number or whatever, and you can contact me that way. All right. How do you feel about the spider gene? So the spider gene, I don't like it. I really don't. Right now, I only have one animal that carries the gene. I know that you need spider to make some mind-blowing morphs or paint jobs, and I personally don't like the risk. So the spider that I keep Actually, sorry, I keep two spiders. One is a uh, one is a bee and one is a killer bee. The killer bee may have a slight wobble to her, but she was also a rescue and a not necessarily a surrender with her either. Basically, she was gifted, uh, and I'm just caring for her or whatnot. She's not to be bred whatsoever. She was very, very badly burnt, kind of like in in similarities to the video that I showed a while back. Uh, and real quick, as we're talking about the spider gene, we're talking about a gene of ball pythons. So we're not necessarily talking. We are not talking about spiders like the tarantulas that I have. That's not the same. Uh, it's just a gene, just like Enchi, Mojave, Lesser, Piebald, Black Pastel, just like those. Those. It's not actually a spider. It's a ball python that we're talking. So when you have a spider, for instance, my bee, who has no wobble whatsoever, her babies, she could give, she could lay me a clutch of babies, and they all have wobble, or none of them can have wobble, or they can develop wobble later on, just as she can still develop a wobble later on. So it's not really worth the risk for me. The animal that I have now, uh, she was amongst my first animals that I had went out and got with my settlement. So she's obviously going to stay here. She has not actually, she hasn't actually dropped me any eggs since I've had her. I'm not sure what's up, but maybe we'll be, maybe we'll find something out. Yeah, your queen bee is it's got a little bit of a bump. Nothing too bad, and especially like when they're hungry or when they're going after prey, they will wobble even harder. I don't know why. Maybe it's more of like a trying to focus on something type of thing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know, but they definitely do wobble a little more. So I can't say that it's not worth breeding because, again, it's not just because of their looks, so to speak, but at the same time, it is. If you breed, for instance, say a spider to a pastel and you get a bee or a bumblebee, you I don't know the exact science behind it to tell you that you lessen the chance if you add more genes to it, maybe that you lessen the chance of the wobble. Um, I know a lot of people was thinking that at one point with the champagne, because champagne is another gene that is known for some issues, not as much as spider. Thankfully, champagne is something that I really do enjoy. But yeah, I haven't. To be honest, man, I've been so focused on this channel and so focused on getting to our 4,000 watch hours that I haven't even um, posted on my American Bullies channel. But please bear with me. I am going to do that as well as my other channel, um, Grizzly Unfiltered ish or something like that. I can't remember, but I'll put this down below in the description after this post. And to show you guys or to let everybody else see those, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, with the spider, like, why did I have this in my hand? Because I wanted to sit. So with the spider gene, yes, it is difficult to try to. I don't even know the word of it. I guess it's difficult to try and justify the breeding of spider just to breed them. A lot of people are not doing it just to breed them, and a lot of people are actually doing it with respect of the animal. I I myself would never breed an animal that has a visible wobble, even though that visible wobble doesn't necessarily mean that your animal is going to produce snakes with the wobble. You could have a snake with a severe wobble that produces offspring without any wobble whatsoever. But an animal with a wobble, to me, should not be bred no matter what. I wouldn't you should breed a spider at all just because the possibility of a wobble is there. If you think about it, with that concept, you shouldn't breed any ball pythons whatsoever because the possibility of getting kinks are there. And that's not even just with ball pythons, that's with lizards as well. Bearded dragons, uh, monitor lizards, tegus, the whole 9 yards. The possibility is there to have deformities, neurological issues, and whatnot. It's it's kind of based off your own preference. You don't like the spider gene, you don't think that it should be bred, then don't breed it. Unfortunately, we can't sit here and even if we both agree that it shouldn't be bred, we can't make everybody else stop breeding it. A lot of people have projects solely based around the spider gene. So to say that you guys can't breed that no more, that crushes all their projects. To be honest, that's not fair. Now, obviously, if they're solely doing it for profit purposes and not actually caring for the animals properly, there's a big difference. But generally speaking, these people are doing what they should be for their animals, and we really have no say on what they breed. That's just how I look at it. For instance, I wanted to do, before I knew really how bad it was, I wanted to do champagne to champagne. But just like spider to spider, it is lethal. So if you bred a spider to a spider, get away from it. You have high chances of all your clutch being dead or woo! Sorry, you have a high chance of your whole clutch being either dead or non-fertile or just a whole bunch of stuff. Uh, the same thing goes for the champagne to champagne, but champagne to champagne, there has been actual offspring that have, I don't know how long they've made it, but that have actually made it out of the egg and has lived at least for a little bit. Again, I don't know how long that it survived, but I do know that it survived enough to get out of the egg. It looks like it's patching out. Really do, guys. I really do apologize, guys. But yeah, you guys are doing so good. I was I was staying right there with me, and then you guys just went downhill. But damn, I didn't realize that we actually do have a lot of comments on it. I feel like maybe YouTube's just lagging right now. I don't know what's going on. But maybe you guys can't really hear me well no more. Maybe you can. Maybe you don't care to. Who knows? Who knows? Just saying. Just saying. You guys notice I'm looking away from the camera or whatever, I'm trying to look at my rabbits. Because I got Lola, who is my chinchilla in New Zealand, who should be dropping soon. It looked like she might have been starting, so I had to just double check. Favorite ball morph, no question about it. Fine. If we're talking about multi genes, then it's going to be a panda pied, which is a super black pastel pied, which is a black and white snake. Generally speaking, there has been cases where they have been solid white with black eyes, which are still pretty cool, but I prefer the black and white animal. And well, now you say besides pie. Like, what do you mean? I mean, that's my favorite gene. And that answers your question as well, Jacqueline. Uh, the panda pie, which is the black pastel, the super form of black pastel, and the pie as well. If you don't know what super forms are, I'm not saying that you necessarily don't know, but some people don't. So a super form is a codom to a codom of the same gene. For instance, you have brain fart, guys. Okay, so you have Mojave paired to a Mojave, you get a super Mojave. You have a 25% chance of that super Mojave, and in that case, that is going to be a blue-eyed Lucy. Generally, the super Mojave blue-eyed Lucies have more of a purple pigmentation around their head compared to, say, a super lesser, which is more generally solid white with blue eyes, of course. But also lessers and Mojaves can make the blue-eyed Lucy as well, with less of a purple head as you would with the super Mojave. Yeah, pie is just my go-to. You know, fat kids love pies. What can I say? You know, but just something about them really it sparked my interest from the first one that I seen. I knew that I had to have one, and at that point, they were super expensive. Obviously, they're still kind of expensive, and a lot of people don't realize that. But uh, I was lucky, to say the least, with my pies. How many bunnies do I have? So, how many bunnies do I have available, or how many bunnies do I have that I'm keeping? If we're talking about what I'm keeping, I have Peter Cotton. I got Peter Cottontail. Midnight, I think is what we're calling her. I'm not sure. Then I got so there's three, and then I got Lucy, or sorry, not Lucy, Lola. So there's four. I got Bugs, of course. I got Bugs and Lola. Duh. Uh, so there's five, and then I got Watchy, which is six. And then I got two chinchilla does who are still young yet. So that is eight in total that I'm keeping, and I have three technically available, but two. With what I have going on at the moment, I would probably say the easiest to breed is going to be crested geckos or leopard geckos. Even though I don't have leopard geckos right now, uh, crested geckos and leopard geckos are probably going to be the easiest. Uh, with crested geckos, a lot of people say that you can leave their eggs inside their enclosure in their substrate after they're buried or whatever. My thing is, I'd rather not because when those babies hatch, then you have to worry about the adults trying to eat them. And it doesn't matter if they're fat and full and all that good stuff; they will still try to eat their babies. I don't want to risk that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to cut this little hair that just keeps going sideways. But I don't want to breed an animal, produce an animal, and watch that animal die. Just not something that I'm into. um, so I obviously I incubate the eggs in that. But that would probably be the easiest that I have currently. If we're talking reptiles, anyways, if we're talking about uh, in general, what kind of animals? ASFs. ASFs breed and 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 breed. They don't stop. Um, in some cases, you can have ASF drop 20 and I keep mine with at least three females to one male. So if I have 20 drop, say I just have 10 drop, and all three of them drop at the same time, and they give me 30 babies. In about 4 weeks, I can move them out and pair them up to other other pairs or whatnot, other breeding sets, whatever you want to call it, and just get blown up. Thankfully, with this rack that I have here, it's very good for that. I'm gonna be on here for about another 9 minutes. Once it's at an hour, then I'll get off of here. Just because I got as much as I don't want to do it, I gotta do it. It's called responsibilities, I guess. Y'all want to say something before I get off of here? People just keep dropping. I'll make this super awkward sometimes. Like, I know that some of you guys might be in the comments right now trying to type, but yes, sir. Yes, sir. You as well. Like I said, man, always just send me a message or whatnot. You have a great day as well. So yeah, see like situations like that. I know some of you guys are in the comment section right now. Comments. Sometimes it just lags or whatever, but just one of those things that we kind of have to put up with. Eventually, we'll get to the point where, even if it lags for 20 people, the other, say, 100 people that may be watching, maybe eventually get that thing. Might not lag, so we'll be able to go through without interruptions, or not so much interruptions without breaks. Valentino is good. He, he's still iffy on if he wants to come out of brumation or not. He's been like that ever since I've gotten him. He'll come out of brumation for a little bit, and then he wants to go right back in it. Even in the middle of the summer, he does not care. He loves to sleep, and occasionally I do actually still have to open his mouth and feed him that way. Kind of just drop in the food and let him have at it like that. But the other day, a couple days ago or whatever, he was super, super, super hungry, which is very uncommon for Valentino. Even when he is hungry, he barely chases around. If I throw in a live rodent or whatever, he'll barely chase it around. But I brought out a huge, big piece of chicken breast, actually, and he was on that like white on rice. So he is doing good. He is enjoying himself. Hey, I don't know if you guys that scar is trying to dig out. She's she's Kind of scared. Uh, I was talking about how I don't like to take naps. What the hell? Today feel like one of those days. Got less than 5 minutes, guys. Less than 5 minutes. If you had to rate the I don't know. No, never mind. Because you guys didn't even see it. Like, never mind. Don't. I don't even fucking know. Don't judge me, guys. Just don't judge me. How about that? That works. I'm cool with that. Naps aren't bad per se. I don't like naps. You're hardcore judging me. That's too. I'm used to it. It's okay. At least now I'm used to it and I can put up with it. So no, I'd rather just be grumpy and not take a nap than to take a nap. My point behind that is, if I sleep during the day, I could be missing something, or I could do something and get it taken care of versus sleep. That's kind of my theory behind napping during the day. It's just not for me. Unfortunately, I don't sleep until super super late, so I typically wake up kind of late. Sometimes, about 9 o'clock ish, and that's kind of late. Do need to fix my sleeping schedule, but unfortunately, that's not something that I can do right this second. How many pinkies do you have right now? A lot. I have a lot of pinkies right now, ranging from rat pinkies to mouse pinkies and African soft fur pinkies. I have a lot. I actually, when I change up today, wait for me. When I change out their bins today, I do have to record and log my numbers. And then if I have enough, I can actually start posting those back on Facebook and go from there. Unfortunately, when I moved over my racks and kind of compressed them, I had to. Oh shit! Too English, but yeah, I had to wait and build up my colony again. So we're getting there though. Not a bad thing at all. This was fun, guys. Real fun. I will be going live again on Sunday, about 6 o'clock Sunday. I may do another live beforehand. I may do one on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. But I will be going live again at least on Sunday, 6 o'clock. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure that you do so. Hit the bell notification so you guys can be notified whenever I do go live. Obviously, all the likes are appreciated. All the comments are appreciated. If you guys wasn't commenting and interacting, then I really look like a crazy person, and I might have to go check myself into a ward. But thankfully, for the most part, you guys did keep interactions up, which is awesome. But that's going to be the end. Again, please make sure you subscribe. I don't know if I'll post it today or tomorrow, but I will be posting another updated version of the video. I'm going to go through all my care videos and just post updated versions. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you stay tuned. It's greatly appreciated. try to take care or try to have a good day. Take care. All right, yeah.